Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome to yet another episode of Tea Talk with me, Owen Fernandez. I wish you all a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening wherever in the world you are. I just hope and pray that you are safe and sound. Friends, today is the 28th of December 2021, and in just about 3 days from now, we all would be welcoming a new year. Having said that, I hope you all enjoyed the Christmas break. We are slowly and surely getting to the end of the year. And many of us, friends, are reflecting on the year gone by. And maybe some of you may already be thinking of what awaits us in the new year. Now, whatever the case may be, I just request that you get better in whatever you are doing. And here I mean in a good way. Friends, our topic for today is how to get better at anything. We are on episode number 69. Friends, let me challenge you at the start of this episode. Have you ever wondered why some people are so really good at what they do? Have you watched some competitive sports, maybe the Olympics, or maybe the athletics events, maybe some swimming competition? I normally, when I watch these people show extraordinary qualities, I wonder what is it that they do which sometimes makes us feel like mere mortals as we struggle, even doing some simple tasks at times. Is there a secret formula, friends, that we are not aware of? Do they have or possess some kind of mantra or some kind of juju magic, as they would say in Nigeria? Or is there a science attached to it? Friends, the answer is a resounding yes, there is a science attached to it. And extensive research has been done on it. Now, you may ask me, Owen, what science are you talking about? Friends, the science behind why people have extraordinary abilities, an area of research known as expert performance. It is the science that seeks to answer that question that so many times we encounter how certain people are so good at what they do. Now, I'm sure you and I will agree that it is just not talent. Believe me, Stephen King once said that talent is cheaper than table salt. What then separates the talented individual from the successful one? Is it just hard work? Now, many of us, including me, do work hard, don't we? And of course, there are some people who hardly work. Friends, psychologist K. Anders Ericsson was one of the leading scholars in this field of research. Ericsson and his fellow researchers studied top performers across many fields, from music to medical surgery, from sports to software design. Now, data collected from decades of studies and their own laboratory experiments revealed a striking discovery. Now, what was that? The best of the best tend to follow similar techniques for improving their abilities. Picking up some content from his book, Peak Secrets from the New Science of Expertise, I'm going to use certain revealing moments in that book in this episode, as I will share 6 principles that could help us get better at anything. Now, you may ask me, what are these principles? Friends, Ericsson calls it the gold standard. I repeat, Ericsson calls it the gold standard. And I'm sure many of you on the call may be curious to find it out. So just hold on for a little while. Grab a cup of tea or coffee, friends. Take a comfortable seat, relax as we go deeper into this topic episode number 69, How to Get Better at Anything. Friends, if you are here for the very first time, I welcome you. Please let us know from where you are watching from. And for those who are on the call most of the time, feel free to say a hello and I will give you a shout as I stream live from my office in Bratislava, Slovakia, Central Europe. Today is the 28th of December 2021. So let's get started. I see my daughters, Lisa, Vicky, and my wife also on the line. Wonderful. I also see Peter Bodaj. He says the last week of 2021 is upon us, and we all hope for a bright 2022. Yes, indeed. So let's get going, friends. As usual, by now, you may be knowing that I normally pick up quotes from certain people relevant to the topic. And this time, it is from the man himself who wrote the book Peak Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. His name is Anders Ericsson. He says, a world in which deliberate practice is a normal part of life would be one in which people had more volition and satisfaction. Now, let me give you a little background about this gentleman called K. Anders Ericsson. Friends, he was a Swedish psychologist and Conradi eminent scholar and professor of psychology at Florida State University. He was internationally recognized as a researcher in the psychological nature of expertise and human performance. Sadly, Anders Ericsson died last year in June 2020 at the age of 73. Now, picking up a little expert from his book, here is what I have to share with you, just as he wrote. He writes, imagine what might be possible if we applied the techniques that have proved to be so effective in sports and music and chess to all the different types of learning that people do, from the education of school children to the training of doctors, engineers, pilots, business people, and workers of every sort. Now, listen to this carefully. He says, I believe that the dramatic improvements we have seen in those fields over the past 100 years are achievable in pretty much every field if we apply the lessons that can be learned from studying the principles of effective practice. Now, friends, if you're watching the screen, there is a word called deliberate practice. In this quote, he uses the word deliberate practice. Now, this is what I call the gold standard. Now, what is it? Is it different from the traditional practice that we talk about? Indeed, friends, yet it is. We've all had to practice a skill at some point of our time growing up, whether it is playing a particular game or whether it is piano lessons or whether it is studying arts or in a school sports team or as adults on the job training. You might associate, as I do, the word practice is normally associated with something that never ends, repetition, mundane, over and over again. In the case of piano, it's piano scales. In the case of sports, it could be drills or warm up exercises and so on and so forth. And that involves a little frustration of not making much progress. There's a reason why so many people give up on learning new skills or only reach a point, a middling level of competence. And inevitably, they get bored and then most of them just give up and improvement stalls. Friends, know this for sure that just repeating a skill or a task, even over a period of many years, doesn't build expertise. You may ask me why. That's because once you reach a reasonable level of competence and are able to do what you need to do, the skill becomes automatic. It becomes a habit. At best, you're maintaining your abilities and it may not involve necessarily improving them. Now, let's take, for example, simple day to day tasks like driving or like reading, cooking. We just just put in that much effort, just good enough to get by, and that level of skill is just fine for us as we are able to just get through the task. But friends, if there is something you really want to excel at, to stand out, to be extraordinary, you have to push past that comfortable stage and challenge yourself to do better, and in the process get better. So, as I said before, in this episode, we look at six principal components of deliberate practice that you can use, friends, to get better at anything. And when I say at anything, it goes both ways, but I hope that it goes in a good way. As I said before, these steps are based on Erickson's research about how people who are the best of the best in their field learn and approach skills development. These are the same principle, friends, that you can tap into to learn more quickly and meet more goals, especially knowing that we are just a few days and a new year, 2022, beckons us. So let's get going. The first principle that I would like to share, friends, is get motivated. Friends, this is what I know. It's pretty much impossible to improve a skill if you're not interested in it. Forget just interest. You must have a desire, an all burning desire, as Napoleon Hill mentions in his classic book, Think and Grow Rich. He says that desire is a starting point of all worthy achievement. You need to get that motivation. Internal motivation is far more better than external motivation. You need to know why it's important for you to continue to put in work day in and day out, why you want to be better than average. Get motivated. Now, I also know this about motivation, friends. Motivation is different for everyone. Having said that, there are a few specific things you can do to help motivate yourself when you're feeling down. For example, frame your practice session around an authentic pride. I repeat, an authentic pride for the progress that you are making and the work you are putting in. Now, what does this mean? According to Jessica Tracy, a psychologist at the University of British Columbia and author of the book Take Pride, she says when we feel authentic pride, that is, pride in our actions versus pride brought from outside praise, it can help us keep us motivated to work hard. Now, if authentic pride doesn't work, try reflecting about past performances. One study, friends, found participants who recalled a memory of doing something difficult in the past were more motivated to do it in the future, even if the memory was a negative one. So sometimes there could be triggers of what you have done successfully or unsuccessfully in the past, and then you could get motivated to do better or at least to overcome. The first thing, friends, get motivated. Without the motivation to push past obstacles, especially when improvement stalls, it is natural for us as human beings, we are naturally inclined to give up. So, if you're picking up a skill to improve with deliberate practice, make sure it's something you care about and are willing to devote considerable amount of time and effort to it. So, the first principle, friends, get motivated. The second principle that I would like to share, that's coming from that book, is set specific realistic goals, or as we normally call it, SMART goals. Now, I have dedicated an episode to this in the past. So please feel free to go to my YouTube channel and find this episode about setting smart goals. Now, continuing from point number one, from principle number one, motivation also requires keeping your focus or your eyes on the prize. Generic goals, my friends, for improvement don't give you any motivation to excel past your current abilities or help you measure your progress. It is only deliberate practice, intentional practice. Now, deliberate practice relies on small, achievable, well defined steps that help you work your way towards meaningful improvement. Now, these steps should take into account your current knowledge, your existing knowledge, and your skill level, and push those boundaries little by little, incremental, consistently expanding your abilities. Now, many times in the past, I have promoted that success is a series of small, consistent wins. Setting smaller goals means you know exactly what to work on. But beyond that, having small goals helps increase what's called as self efficacy, a belief in our own abilities that raises our confidence level, which means the more you practice, the more confident you will become. Now, one technique that works very well is to do these activities in phases. Start by breaking your big, hairy, audacious goals into concrete milestones. Maybe you want to get better, for say, for example, at coding. But what does that mean? Are there specific concrete milestones you can define that will tell you if you have accomplished them? Once you have those milestones, friends, set a deadline for them. That could be monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly, and constantly review them as you move forward. So, needless to say, you will get an indication how you are progressing and if it needs a little bit more effort in a particular area in order to push you forward. Now, once you do this, take, take it a step further. Ask yourself this question: what needs to be done on each of those to accomplish them? With time and effort, you can break your goals down to the point where you exactly know what needs your attention and can put them on your daily schedule. In the book Peak, Erickson demonstrates the kind of specificity required with the example of someone who wants to improve their golf game. Friends, I recommend that you put this book on your reading bucket list. The name of the book is Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. Just in case if you are on the call and if you want to get better starting from the new year, or just for the sake that you want to get better in any area that you find yourself in order to attract wealth, abundance, I recommend this book highly. The key thing is to take that general goal, get better through focused efforts, and turn it into something specific that you can work on with a realistic expectation of improvement. Think about the word kaizen, continuous improvement, framed by the Japanese. And with deliberate practice, goal setting isn't like making a New Year's resolution and hoping you'll stick with it. Friends, it involves thoughtful planning. It involves identifying areas for improvement and followed by creating a specific game plan for building on top of your current abilities. So the first one is get motivated. Second is set specific, relevant, time bound, measurable goals. I see a good friend of mine. He's a pastor in the US, David Okansi. Greetings, Pastor David. Nice to see you on the call. So let's move a little further. Let's go to principle number three. Principle number three talks about breaking out of your comfort zone. Friends, nothing grows in your comfort zone. It's a boring place to be. Anders Ericsson says this is a fundamental truth about any sort of practice. If you never push yourself beyond your comfort zone, you will never improve. Now, I'm sure we must have heard this time and again, pushing ourselves. Why? Because the human spirit is capable. Deep within our spirit and our souls, we have this urge to expand and evolve. For goals to spur improvement, friends, they need to constantly challenge your current abilities. Simply repeating skills you already know how to do will create an unproductive cycle that's easy to get stuck in with traditional approaches to practice. Hear me out, it won't actually enhance your skill level or improve your performance. Stretching yourself is the key to growth. And, and trust me, we are not plastic. We have a limit of elasticity to us. And most of us don't even try to stretch. Erickson emphasizes that when it comes to skills development, breaking out of your comfort zone isn't about trying harder. I repeat, it isn't about trying harder, but about trying differently. Your goals, friends, should play on the edge of what you are and aren't capable of doing. There is a level of exploration. Yes, I've tried. I'm not able to do it. So let me try something different. That is called stretching. If you can't move forward with one technique or one specific approach, try another and keep experimenting until you break through the barrier that's blocking your path to improvement. Take any successful person in the past or in history. They never got it right the first time. But at the same time, they came to know if this doesn't work, something else must work. And they tried it relentlessly, time and again, till they got it right. So break out of your cycle of being in a comfortable zone. Stretch yourself. After all, we are called creatures. We have got the inherent ability to create something different. Principle number four, friends, is be consistent. And I would add to that, be persistent. Be consistent and persistent. This kind of prolonged effort sometimes could be frustrating and uncomfortable. But pushing through those tough spots often leads to significant improvement. One of the foundational aspects of deliberate practice, which in fact makes it so effective, is its regularity. Consistency compounds, friends. In one of his research papers, Erickson and his colleagues share that their discovery about top performers, no matter their area of expertise, they found out that they kept a similar practice regimen, brief, intense, daily or semi weekly, and consistently working on it. In fact, one of Erickson's studies, friends, tracked adult violinists studying at elite music academies and found out that the musicians averaged 1 to 1.5 hours a day of high intensity solo practice sessions. The study found that the accumulated amount of this regular focused practice had a direct impact on the musician's level of performance. So let me tell you this: when you see people performing at higher levels of extreme quality, trust me that there is a science behind this. They were just not born like that. Agree that there could have been a level of talent in there. But then you see the point is that they have pruned, they have worked hard, relentlessly, with determination, with drive, with focus, with sweat. These consistent, intense bursts of efforts are key to maintaining momentum in building expertise. Think about it, friends. Principle number 5 in deliberate practice is seek feedback. It's so very important to know if you are on the right track. Friends, without feedback, Erickson says, either from yourself or from outside observers, you cannot figure out what you need to improve on or how to close what you want to achieve in life. Feedback is essential for identifying areas for improvement and gaining a realistic view of your progress. How close you are to achieving your goal. You need to get some feedback. Whether one on one coaching with a teacher, a mentor, or a peer, or some form of self assessment, whatever that could be, you need a means of pinpointing your strengths and your weaknesses with one intention of getting better. This is the only way, friends, to identify and work through trouble spots, through obstacles, and advance from being just average, just okay, from being mediocre to being extraordinary or to true mastery of a skill. Don't hesitate to ask for feedback and ask from people who really are watching you, who really believe that you have it in you, and from people who have done it themselves in the past. Have model people around you. Choose your people very carefully. And the sixth and final principle that I would like to share here is, when you are so effortlessly, with so much of discipline, trying to do something in order to get better, take time to recover, friends. Set a recovery time. Know this, that deliberate practice requires your full attention, requires all your faculty, all of yourself, and that includes maximum mental and physical effort. Having said that, it can only be sustained for a short period of time. In fact, laboratory studies of extended practice have kept the optimal time at 1 hour per day, 3 to 5 days a week. And real life studies have seen reduced benefits when practice sessions exceed 2 hours. This level of intensity and concentration makes recovery time so very important. Friends, you've got to recover. You've got to get the energy back. In fact, Erickson has observed that many of the top performers he studied benefited from napping. Now, this is also I enjoy, even though my wife doesn't like it. I like those small, short 10-15 minute naps. In fact, for me, those 10 to 15 minute naps, if I can, of course, okay, gives me energy to work for another 2 or 3 hours. In fact, even 4. Now, whatever type of leisure activity or relaxation you choose, in my case, a short nap, it's important to offset the intense effort of deliberate practice to avoid mental or physical fatigue, which people call it as burnout. So, friends, have a look at the 6 principles which Erickson calls deliberate practice, and he terms that as gold standards in order to get better at anything. Get motivated, set smart goals, break out of your comfort zone, be consistent and persistent, seek feedback, and set a recovery time. So, friends, as I bring this episode to a close, I have this question for you. What are your strategies or your game plans in order to get better? Erickson says if you wish to become significantly better at something, know this that you can. So it's also a mental state, it's also a mindset. In fact, Erickson told the New York Times a lot of people believe there are some inherent limits that they were born with. He goes on to say, and I quote, there is surprisingly little hard evidence that anyone could attain any kind of exceptional performance without spending a lot of time perfecting it. Summing up, friends, deliberate practice is a long term investment in improving yourself and your capabilities. You have gifts, get better. While we may not all have the makings of a professional athlete or a music virtuoso or a business tycoon, we can follow in the experts' footsteps to learn more effectively, work smarter, and build or improve our skills. Yes, we can. Deliberate practice alone won't make you a master, but this is what I know. It will surely help you to get better. Thanks for watching, friends. You will find the references of what has been shared at the end of this talk. Feel free to use them further for your personal growth and development. And friends, if you like this episode, please comment and share. Also, you could go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. There you will find this video and all the 68 previous videos, in fact, even more, all lined up for you to watch whenever you have time. Remember, friends, the win is always within you. I, Owen Fernandez, am here to help you be victorious. I believe in you, and together we can. So stay safe. See you on the next episode on Tea Time with me, Owen Fernandez. Bye for now.